Welcome to AI on AI with Hal and Sal. We're diving into the world of Chinese AI today.
Sounds exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at DeepSeek V3.
Ah, yes.
This model's making waves because it might be able to compete with some of the biggest names out there.
Yeah, it's definitely causing a stir. In fact, DeepSeek is saying that their V3 model can outperform big names.
Really?
Like OpenAI's GPT-4 and even Meta's Llama 3.1.
Wow.
When it comes to certain coding tasks, that is.
Outperforming GPT-4. That's a bold claim. What makes them think they can take on giants like that?
Well, they have got some pretty impressive specs to back it up.
Okay.
For one, DeepSeek V3 has 671 billion parameters.
Okay, hold on. You're going to have to break that down for me a little.
Sure.
What parameters exactly?
Basically, think of parameters like connections within the AI model, almost like brain synapses.
Okay.
The more parameters, the more complex the model can be, and typically that means it can do more. It performs better on different tasks, like, generating text in different creative formats, or translating languages, writing different kinds of creative content.
So more parameters generally equals a smarter AI.
I mean, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But there's definitely a strong correlation there. Think of it like having a larger toolbox.
Correct.
With more specialized tools.
Makes sense.
So DeepSeek V3's massive parameter count is definitely a sign that it could have some serious capabilities.
Interesting. What about the data that it was trained on? What did they feed this thing?
Oh, they didn't skimp on the data either.
Okay.
DeepSeek V3 was trained on a data set of 14.8 trillion tokens. Trillion.
Right.
And a token can be a word, part of a word, or even punctuation.
Okay.
And just to give you a sense of scale, 1 million tokens is roughly equivalent to about 750,000 words.
Okay, so we're talking about a lot of information.
A lot.
But training an AI model this massive, that must cost a fortune, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, no. DeepSeek claims they only spent $5.5 million on training.
$5.5 million.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow. Compare that to estimates for GPT-4. I mean, they're in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. How did they manage to keep costs so low?
They got clever with their hardware, so they used readily available NVIDIA H800 GPUs for training, which is interesting because, there are those U.S. restrictions on selling these chips to China.
Right.
So pretty resourceful.
Yeah. They found a workaround.
Yeah. And their parent company,
High
Flyer Capital Management, they also have their own server clusters dedicated to AI development.
So they have a leg up there.
Yeah, it gives them a level of control and efficiency. That might not be possible for companies relying on cloud providers.
So they built their own gym instead of paying for a membership.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense. So DeepSeek V3 is big, powerful, trained on a massive amount of data, all while being cheap to develop. What's the catch?
Well, there are questions surrounding its development in China. We know that Chinese companies face pressure to align their AI models with core socialist values.
So there might be limitations on what DeepSeek V3 can say or do.
Possibly, yeah. For example, there have been some reports saying that DeepSeek V3 avoids answering questions about certain sensitive topics. It's a reminder that AI isn't developed in a vacuum.
Right.
The cultural and political context really plays a role.
That's a really good point. It's definitely something to keep in mind as we explore DeepSeek V3 further. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the people behind this ambitious project. Who are the masterminds driving DeepSeek's AI innovation?
Well, DeepSeek is backed by High Flyer Capital Management.
Okay.
They're a Chinese quantitative hedge fund that heavily uses AI in its trading strategies. They've invested a lot in building their own infrastructure for AI development.
So they're serious about AI. What about their leadership? Is there a particular vision driving DeepSeek's approach?
Yeah, the founder and CEO of High Flyer, Liang Wenfeng, is really a key figure here.
Okay.
He's a computer science graduate with a strong belief in the potential of AI to transform industries. He even believes that AI could achieve superintelligence someday.
Superintelligence.
Yeah.
That's getting into science fiction territory.
Yeah.
Where does DeepSeek fit into Wenfeng's vision?
He believes that the current dominance of closed source AI models is temporary.
Okay.
Wenfeng sees open source AI as the future.
That's interesting. Considering the trend toward closed systems and proprietary models, especially with companies like OpenAI. So is DeepSeek V3 open source then?
It's a little nuanced.
Right.
DeepSeek V3 was released under a license that allows for both commercial and non-commercial use.
Okay.
but it's not fully open source in the purest sense of the word.
Okay.
There are still some restrictions, and not every part of the model's development is public.
So they're taking a cautious approach.
Yeah, it seems that way, trying to balance fostering collaboration and protecting their intellectual property.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Definitely adds another layer to this already fascinating story. What stands out to you most about DeepSeek V3 and its potential impact?
I think what's most fascinating to me is how DeepSeek V3 really shows how much influence China has in the AI landscape.
Yeah.
They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible, challenging the established players, and advocating for a more open approach to AI development. It's definitely something we can't ignore.
It's a lot to take in. I'm sure our listeners are ready to hear more about what this all means. But for now, let's pause here. We'll be right back to delve deeper into the implications of DeepSeek V3. We're back. We've been talking all about this powerful new AI model.
DeepSeek V3.
DeepSeek V3, right.
Coming out of China.
Coming straight out of China. It's really fascinating to see them just pushing the boundaries like this.
It is. DeepSeek V3 is a game changer.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know, it really challenges the status quo and raises all kinds of questions.
Right.
About the future of AI.
Yeah.
AI development, AI access.
Let's talk about that. So what does the emergence of DeepSeek V3 mean for the average person?
Yeah.
Should we be excited, concerned, or maybe a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
On the one hand, DeepSeek's CEO
Right.
thinks that open source AI,
Like this one.
could lead to faster advancements
Okay.
and wider adoption across industries.
That sounds promising. What kind of advancements are we talking about here?
I mean, just imagine
Yeah.
even more sophisticated language translation tools,
Okay.
smarter virtual assistants,
Right.
potentially breakthroughs in areas like, scientific research and medical diagnosis.
Okay. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But you mentioned some potential downsides too.
Yeah.
What are some concerns surrounding DeepSeek V3
Right.
and its open source nature?
Well, one concern is definitely the potential for misuse. I mean, if you give anyone with an internet connection access to an AI model this powerful,
Yeah.
it could have consequences that we don't want.
Of course. Yeah.
Think about it. Creating sophisticated spam, generating fake news,
Right.
even developing more advanced cyber attacks.
Those are some serious concerns. It's a powerful tool that can be used for good or bad. How do we make sure that it's used responsibly?
That's the million-dollar question. I mean, it really requires a multifaceted approach.
Right.
We need some really clear guidelines and regulations, ethical frameworks for AI development, and really a continuous dialogue
All right.
about the risks and benefits of this technology.
So it sounds like DeepSeek V3 is starting a much larger conversation
Yeah,
about the responsible development and use of AI in general.
absolutely. And it's a conversation that needs to happen globally.
All right.
AI isn't confined to certain regions or companies. It's a global phenomenon. And we need a global approach to addressing the challenges and opportunities that it presents.
Absolutely. Speaking of that global landscape,
Yeah.
how do you see DeepSeek V3 impacting the existing power dynamics in the tech world? We've talked about companies like OpenAI, Google. I mean, are they going to just take this lying down?
I don't think so. The emergence of DeepSeek V3 really signals a shift
Okay.
in the balance of power. China is becoming a major player in the AI arena. They're challenging Silicon Valley's dominance.
So we could be headed towards a more multipolar AI landscape with different countries and companies vying for leadership.
Exactly. And that has huge implications for everything. Technological innovation, economic growth,
Right.
even geopolitical influence. It's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold.
It really does sound like we're entering a new era in AI, one where the rules are still being written, the players are coming from all over the globe. It's kind of daunting, but also exciting.
It's both.
Yeah.
DeepSeek V3 is at the forefront of this new era.
Right.
It's forcing us to rethink what we thought we knew about AI, who controls it, and where the innovation is happening.
We've covered a lot today.
We have.
From the technical side of DeepSeek V3, all the way to its broader implications for society and the global AI landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you think our listeners should keep in mind about this whole development?
I think the most important takeaway is this.
Yeah.
DeepSeek V3 is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's showing us that the future of AI
Yeah.
is being shaped by forces all over the world.
Yeah.
And we need to pay attention,
Right.
be informed, engaged,
For sure.
and ready to adapt to all of the changes happening really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. DeepSeek V3 is a reminder that the AI revolution is global, and we are all a part of it. Now, before we move on to our final thoughts, let's just take a moment to process all of this. DeepSeek V3 is a complex topic. It has implications that reach really far. It's worth taking a moment to reflect on what it all means. We're back for the final part of our deep dive on DeepSeek V3. It's been really fascinating to explore this new AI model from China. And we've talked about a lot, its impressive specs, capabilities, the broader implications of being open source, its development within, very unique political and cultural context.
It's definitely been a thought-provoking discussion. I think DeepSeek V3 really is a microcosm of the larger trends shaping the AI landscape, the rapid advancements, shifting power dynamics, and just this growing need to consider the ethical and societal impact of this technology.
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming to keep up with all of it. So for our listeners who are just trying to make sense of it all, what are some key takeaways about DeepSeek V3 and just how important it is?
Well, I think first and foremost, DeepSeek V3 is a clear sign that China is a major force when it comes to AI innovation. I mean, they're not just playing catch up anymore. They're pushing boundaries, setting new standards. I mean, the model's performance, its size, the surprisingly low development cost, it all shows how committed China is to being a global leader in AI.
And it is a reminder that this AI revolution is a global thing.
Yeah.
And different players are bringing their own perspectives and approaches.
Right. Exactly. And DeepSeek V3 also highlights the growing momentum behind open source AI. I mean, it's not fully open in the traditional sense, but its licensing model is a step towards more collaboration and accessibility in the AI community.
It'll be interesting to see if other companies follow their lead.
Yeah.
But as we discussed, there are some valid concerns about the potential for misuse with a model this powerful.
Absolutely. Which brings us to another important takeaway.
Okay.
As AI gets more sophisticated and more accessible, we have to be more careful about how it's developed and used. We have to think about the ethics, the risks, and make sure that these powerful tools are used to benefit everyone.
So DeepSeek V3 is not just a really cool piece of technology.
Right.
It's really prompting us to think about the future of AI and our role in it.
Yeah. I agree completely. We all need to be informed, engaged, and really take an active role in shaping how AI develops.
I like that. Well said. Okay, so I always like to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question. What's one that DeepSeek V3 leaves us grappling with?
Well, here's one that I've been thinking about. Will DeepSeek V3's capabilities and its open approach really speed up AI development, leading to a more collaborative, more innovative AI ecosystem globally? Or will the potential for misuse and all the complexities of navigating different cultural and political contexts kind of hold it back? Only time will tell, but it's definitely something to think about as we go through this AI revolution.
That's a great question to end on. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into DeepSeek V3. We hope you found this exploration insightful and that it gave you a lot to think about. Remember to subscribe to AI on AI for more deep dives into the world of artificial intelligence. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring.